this thing about St. Jude and making sort of a mockery of it. Also, Raul Buhanda, his drink that he ordered, in hindsight, is a little interesting because he got, I mean, who knows? I'm sure it was just random, but he got an Michelob Ultra beer, a couple of those. And later, he's saying he was going to give me a dolphin pendant or whatever. The thing is anybody who was in the FBI had access to my records and files. They saw for themselves that there was a document from December 3rd, 1977 that was destroyed about me. And that means that these FBI employees and federal employees knew a lot more about me than I knew about myself. And they were using me and not even willing to tell me some of the things that they knew I didn't know about. So I consider that to be a serious exploitation. It seems to me that he also had some kind of knowledge of microchips and things that were done to me in Texas. And I think it's strange that Robin Bechtold wasn't wanting me to tell anybody about my meeting these guys. And where did Robin Bechtold end up, and where was he at the time? I believe he was in Texas. So, so does this have anything to do with, when Julia Thornton and people are cutting me off and saying this has nothing to do with my past or my lawsuits or anything like that, or religion? I beg to differ. In paragraph 10, Garrett says that S.A. Raul probably actually told her, Armando wants to meet you, and it was her impression that it was important to meet his boss. He didn't say Garza wanted to meet me or Armando wants to meet me. He said, my boss wants to meet you. And it wasn't that it was my impression that it was important to meet his boss. He wanted me to meet his boss. That's what he said. And then they both were talking about recruiting me. In paragraph 11, at Barbati's restaurant bar, in the initial meeting of Garza, Garrett clarified that she was introduced to Garza by telephone and then met him later that evening at Barbati's. And that's true because he got on the telephone because they were wondering if I could find someone to double date with us, double date altogether. And it was like the very, very last minute. And I said, no, not at this last minute. I called a couple girlfriends, but nobody could do it, with a couple hours notice at the very last minute. And I think they were slightly, maybe one or two were kind of weirded out by the idea they were FBI, which I think I brought up just because for their own knowledge, if you're going out together as a group, why not mention something like that? I didn't make a big deal about it. But I just said, I'm going out with these couple guys from the FBI, and do you want to go with me? Nobody wanted to go with me. You can see what kind of friends I have. They probably just knew what kind of a huge sand pit I was in. They didn't want to get sucked down into it with me. So then it says, Garrett also stated she thought she was meeting his boss because she was being recruited for the FBI, or due to the sensitivity of his duties for the boss to ensure she was not a threat or target. And that's absolutely true because I thought, well, he wants me to meet his boss so soon, and he had told me a little bit about what he did. I didn't share it with anyone, and I just thought, I thought sharing something like that would be very dangerous, so I did not just go around telling people about some of that. But I thought it was maybe both things. I thought, well, like the movies, all of my life I've been working for federal employees and been around CIA and FBI, and I had no idea. Nobody came out of the woodwork and said, I work for this place. So this was the first time anybody specifically said they were FBI. And I kind of had an imagination, like most people do, and I thought, you see these stories where the handler makes sure that the agent's girlfriend is an okay person? Is she gonna rat on the deal? Does she know about you? Who is she connected to? Or is she gonna poison you? Is your life in danger? I mean, anybody working in an undercover situation probably wants to know, has somebody who wants to know about the person that they're potentially going to be intimate with. So to me, I thought they're recruiting me, and maybe I'm being checked out to make sure that I'm not some sort of a threat or whatever. Then it says, Garrett stated they all had 2 tequila shots in addition to the drinks listed. And then, of course, I can't refer to that list right now, but I know for a fact that I told the FBI exactly how many drinks I'd had and who paid for them. And it was very clear from that documentation, which they could have verified through their credit cards, how they paid at that bar, that I was definitely intoxicated. And any witness, any character witness or woman who went out with me would have been able to vouch for the fact that I was pretty much knocked flat after 2 drinks. So when they then wanted, or I'd had a couple drinks, and then they wanted to do tequila shots, I told the SSAs that the only reason I did the tequila shots is, I had driven my car there to meet them, and I put it in a garage so that it would be safe until I got back to it. But then when they wanted to do tequila shots, I refused, and I said, I am really already over the limit. And they said, come on. They kept pressuring me to take these tequila shots. And since they were Mexican, and I have some of my family's Mexican, but I don't spend a ton of time with them, but, they have little traditions and things they like to do. And it's kind of a cultural thing. I'd never had a tequila shot before in my life. And I thought maybe like a cultural Mexican bonding thing. And if I was being recruited for stuff, I didn't want to insult the boss. So I said, okay, I will. Can you give me a ride home? Can you guys drive me home afterwards? Because I won't be able to if I take a shot of tequila. And they said, yes, don't worry about it. So I went ahead and had 1 shot, and then I had another shot. I had 2 or 3 shots and they said I had 2 shots, but I believe it was 3, because I remember the first one tasted one way, the second one was different, it was a different kind, and then the third one, I couldn't even tell by then, I think. But they were very different. The kinds of tequila that were used were totally different. And so I did those shots because I thought that it was my being a guest in this little Mexican, they're both Mexican, meeting was an appropriate, socially sensitive thing to do. So, I worked with international students all the time. I didn't just go out and get drunk with them, ever. But because these guys were FBI, I thought, they will never do anything to hurt me. These guys, they can't hurt anybody, and they can't do anything wrong, because they actually are law enforcement against people who hurt people. So I had absolute trust and faith in them. I didn't have enough faith the first meeting to invite Raul Bujanda to my personal apartment. I didn't think that was wise, period. But in a public setting, and then just getting a ride back to my apartment and not having them come in or anything, I thought that they were trustworthy enough to do that, and we were going to go dancing after we had a couple tequila shots. But after I had all those tequila shots after the drinks, I was wasted. I wasn't even hardly dancing. I was kind of like a blob on the floor. It was real exciting. So then it says, in paragraph 12, at bar 71, Garrett clarified that, I think Sergeant, or S.A. Garza told, I think that I clarified that S.A. Bujanda told her S.A. Garza was a Fulbright scholarship recipient. And I remember bringing that up because I had told Krista Schneider that I had been impressed that this professor, Michael Clark, that I had, was a Fulbright scholarship recipient. And I was hoping that, when I got my GPA up enough and was wanting to apply to law school, maybe that I could also try to look into it and take advantage of such a thing. And so I kind of thought that maybe his inclusion of that statement, I thought, well, why would he say that to impress me for Garza unless somebody had told them that that might impress me? I think the other person maybe I said it to was, I don't know, probably Jonathan, that Jonathan Goldschmuck, and maybe Bechtold.